Good morning, everybody. I'm Nicola Barrett, Chief Corporate Learning Officer at Emory Executive Education at Goizueta Business School, and it's wonderful to have you all join us this morning. For those of you who joined us last time, we talked with Joe Sutherland, the Executive Director for Emory's Center for AI Learning, about all things AI, its advancements, its applications to business. And today we're going to build on that theme and discuss AI agents in business and how these have the potential to reshape work, business, and with it, labor markets and the global economy. AI agents are like computer programs that can perform tasks independently using artificial intelligence. Most follow a simple or a specific workflow to perform assigned tasks, and they're used to simplify and automate complex tasks. They can significantly boost business productivity by handling complex multi-step operations quickly, and they're expected to become a valuable resource in the workforce, helping with roles like customer support, field technicians, data analysis, and more. But before we furiously race down this path, we want to have a discussion with Professor Rajiv Garg, Associate Professor of Information Systems and Operations Management here at the Goizueta Business School, about the hype, reality, and the road ahead. Rajiv is one of those professors I love working with. His research interests are vast, but always with a focus on practical application. Broadly, this research explores the economic and social implications of digital technologies and human-computer interactions. His work highlights the importance of online social connections, strategic content placement, and information disclosures, providing insights for enhancing digital strategies. And recently, his research delved into applications of AI in education, marketing, and e-commerce. This research has been published in notable journals. He is an award-winning teacher, including the 2023 Provost Distinguished Teaching Award for Excellence in Graduate and Professional Education. And he teaches in several of our executive education and professional development programs, including our upcoming short course, Leveraging AI for Business. So for any of those who want to really increase their knowledge and understanding of AI and its application for business and for business leaders, there's a 2-day in-person course, April 30th and May 1st, and there's still some time to register for those. And he also teaches in our online Data Analytics for Leaders course for those who are not able to join us in person in Atlanta. As with all our webinars, Rajiv's going to spend probably about 35 minutes or so sharing what's new, what's working, how we should be thinking about it, and then we'll have time at the end to answer your questions. So please put those into the Q&A and the chat, and I'll do my best to get to as many of those as possible. But over to you, Rajiv. I know you've got lots of slides.
Thank you, Nicola. Thanks for the very kind introduction. And good morning, everybody. I'm seeing on the chat, like all of you from California, Texas, North Carolina. This is amazing. So thank you for joining. Again, so we're going to talk about the AI agents today, which is something that you probably have been hearing for the last 6 to 12 months everywhere. I mean, we started talking about these agents essentially in our executive program last year itself and how they're going to reshape the businesses moving forward. Now, when we talk about like why agents, why they matter, like if you think about over the last 3 years, the emergence of large language models, specifically the ChatGPTs, the Copilot, the Gemini, etc., has made the AI more accessible, right? Tasks that seemed fairly in the human domain, like writing emails, summarizing report, advertising, creating content, answering complex questions, making decisions, creating reports, doing data analysis, all of these could be done by AI with a surprising competence. So as a result, people are becoming more interested, more inclined to use AI in their daily lives as well. So the AI is shifting from that experimental phase where companies was trying, it's actually helping most of the organizations as well. 72% of companies worldwide have adopted AI in some business unit. which was, a growth from 55% in 2023. So that's a 17% jump in just 1 year. And in these applications of AI, organizations are seeing for increased productivity, enhanced customer experience, drive digital transformation, and so forth. Like in almost every business unit, there is some value of AI in there, right? So the current executive mindset is we need to do something with AI. Our competition is exploring AI. Our customers are experiencing new AI-driven products and services. So we have a fear of missing out, right? So as a result, we need to do something. That's the mindset every organization is feeling right now. And this is what's leading to hype. So with this massive adoption of AI, companies trying to invest in AI, to explore AI, only 1% believe their investments have reached maturity, right? Only 1%, because most of the organizations don't know how to better use it. So then the question that comes to our mind is this AI just Clippy, right? And I'm not sure how many of you remember or are from that 90s era. So the Clippy was an assistant, kind of like intelligent assistant in Microsoft Office suite. And it'll kind of like ChatGPT, will answer your questions, will help you find the drop-down menus and features in the Office products. It was a failure, right? I mean, back then it was, we used to have some games that we would play, like fun stuff with Clippy rather than actual productivity game. So is AI the Clippy? Are we using AI correctly? Right? We're always concerned about the results we're getting. Do we know what to ask and how? Right? With Clippy, if you're not asking the right questions, you're not getting the right answers. Right? So what are the boundaries of AI? How do we ask the right question? Do we lack fluency in interacting with these systems? Even with the abundance of the online content, there's so many courses, there's so many content. This webinar is one of those hundreds of AI agent or AI conferences that essentially is providing more information on using AI, right? Is it good for productivity? Are we actually spending so much time in relearning, in verification, in redoing things that we're losing productivity because of these AI systems? And the short answer is no, right? The difference between the Clippy and the AI is essentially we are seeing massive growth, advancements in AI algorithms, computing infrastructure, the amount of data that is used to train these models, and improved interfaces. Try using the ChatGPT with the voice or Gemini with a voice interaction. It is amazing, right? So if you were to think about the recent evolution in AI itself, right? We all have interacted with customer support at some point in the last 2, 3, 5, 10 years, right? And all of these customer support agents have become AI powered. These AI powered bots, customer support agents, they synthesize large data set to help us find information. They classify our request when we call them or contact them using the chatbot, and they provide the relevant information or connect us to the right representative, right? That's the job. That's where AI is heavily used or literally used in every single organization. But in 2025, this year, AI-powered bots will converse like a natural human being and will take actions more than what they were doing before, which is providing information. They can take action. They can give us, like, if you're unhappy with the shipping delay, I'm going to give you a 10% discount on your order or a refund on your order. You are essentially, you want to return a product. I'm going to help you return the package. Will essentially tell you where to bring it or schedule a pickup for your product, etc. They're able to take action now. They interface with the system, and as a result, they're able to update their databases. They're able to take these actions to initiate ticket, process payments, place orders, etc. These bots of the 2025 are essentially called AI agents. Right? So AI agent is essentially a software program that acts autonomously to understand, plan, and execute to achieve a specified goal that is given to it. It is powered by LLMs to enable intermediate insights and decision, right? So LLMs are amazing. I mean, not only to essentially understand the text, understand what people are asking, or synthesize, generate the text, the images, the videos, etc., but also helps us critically analyze the reason the text to help make decisions, right? So it also interacts with the systems and environment to perform a collection of tasks. If you remember the bots or RPA, I mean, RPA was a big thing 15 years ago. Everybody was talking about robotic process automation. So these bots were automating systems, right? So we now have LLMs that are AI assistants that can assist users with the task. We have bots or RPA that can automate tasks for us. Very simply, AI agents are the combination of these LLMs and software bots. The key thing here is essentially the LLMs help not just understand the conversation, but generate decisions. So the key characteristics of agents are they're autonomous, they're goal-oriented, they're driven by the objectives or rules defined by the users or by humans. They're contextually aware. So this is one of the most important things that is needed for agents. You can essentially have a RAG-based system. If you have heard of, so our RAG is retrieval augmented generation, which is used to reduce hallucination, provide the responses that are more contextual to an organization. So it can use the LLMs that are essentially contextualized with your data, with your information to make decisions within those boundaries as well. It has the ability to learn, to improve the databases, the backend databases, or the current prompts that is essentially sending to the LLMs. And it enables interactivity and collaboration, right? It can work with tools and other human agents as well. You can have human in the loop. When we say human in the loop, AI is performing a bunch of different tasks, but at some point it needs an input from a human, like the verification and audit to continue. It can do that, creating a multi-agent system. So AI agents is an autonomous, goal-driven, contextually aware, learning and interactive program that can leverage available tools that are out there, right? So if you were to want to visualize the architecture of an AI agent, we have the core agent, one sort of a model in the center, that is the brain, that is essentially the project manager, that is the orchestrator, that is going to talk to different tools and systems out there. The first thing agent does is plans what it needs to do based on your query, right? So it essentially takes your goals, divides them into sub-goals, decomposes them in sub-goals and smaller micro tasks, so it can tackle each of the tasks correctly. It has a chain of thought process to reason through to improve the outcome for every single task. It criticizes itself, reasons with itself, reflects the outcomes to improve the outcome itself, right? So that's the planning part of an agent. It also has a memory. If you create an agent that doesn't learn from the deviations from the existing outcomes or where human adjusted the outcome or how it's making decision, it's not going to do a very good job. It's not going to be very contextual. It's not going to be very relevant for the organization. So every agent needs some form of memory. A long-term memory, which is essentially the RAG-based model, which is using a vector database or some database to pull information from. And then a short-term memory, which is essentially the data that is added on to a simple prompt that is actually using to get answers, to get decisions. Then it also interfaces with tools, right? The tools could be our calendar, calculator, code integrator, phone systems, databases, etc., and uses all of these to take action, right? So by 2028, these AI agents are expected to be adopted by more organizations. 33% of enterprise software applications will include some agentic AI, up from 1% last year. Right? AI agent machine customers will replace 20% of the interaction at human readable digital storefront. This is phenomenal. This is a paper that I am working on with another faculty here, Ben Koinski. What we're doing is essentially we talk about, or in our own research, we're saying AI, generative AI can help us improve our marketing outcomes, right? Improve the advertising on social media to get better results, better returns for our investment as well. But what is going to happen moving forward is essentially every human is going to have their own agent as well. When I go to websites, I want the agent to essentially find the information, purchase the product for me, book my travel reservation, do all of those things for me. So as a result, on the consumer side, 20% of the interaction that the platforms are going to see will be with the human agents. We are building, developing, and buying that technology already. The Apple Intelligence, the Microsoft Copilot Plus PC have the power to do these things right now. At least 15% of day-to-day work decisions will be made autonomously through agentic AI. There's some decisions that we don't need the human expertise all the time. There's some decisions that could be very simple, could be replicated by AI very easily. 2024 saw 0% of those decisions being made, but 15% of those decisions by 2028. And I think these numbers are relatively conservative, but these numbers, we are going to rely on these agents to make decisions for those low-hanging fruits, those simpler projects or processes. Now, when we think about the agents, like we have a human agent and an AI agent. Human agents bring common sense, empathy, real-world experience. AI agent excels at speed, scale, and consistency. So you already know where I'm headed with this, right? So we need actually both for any significant project or a strategy for an organization. Human agents can use judgment and ethical considerations naturally, right? They know, like if we are providing customer support, we know when to bend the rules. If the customer is important for our organization, I'm going to be a little bit different. Like I'm going to maybe provide more incentives, etc. AI agents follow learned patterns and rules and make decisions based on their training data and algorithm. Their deviation from the norm, from the data, is minimal unless they're asked to deviate in certain situations. Human agents learn from a handful of experiences. You teach one person only one task, they can do the similar task with mistakes and they can keep learning, keep doing it every single day. Agents often need thousands of different data points, right? AI potentially will be able to learn with smaller data points moving forward, which is artificial general intelligence, but that's not what we're talking about. And that's a little, I would say, 2-3 years away as well, before we see something meaningful out there. Humans can build trust with each other. Trusting AI agent is not easy. If a company loses your package and the AI system tells you it's sorry, we won't accept that sorry. We won't trust that they're sorry because that AI system is trained to apologize in those situations. Let me take a 30-second break. So if I were to ask you, what part of your job would you hand over to an AI agent, and what part of job would you never trust an AI to do? So I have a Menti QR code and a link in chat that you can actually click on to answer. Financial decisions, calendar management, answering real-time FAQs, complex decision, filing documents.
Rajiv,
Yes.
I think you can see the results of the Menti and we can't.
Oh, okay. All right.
That still can't see them. We're just seeing you and a blank screen. Oh, there we go. Thank you.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go back to the presentation. All right, no, thank you. I mean, you're absolutely right. There's some decisions, I mean, filing documentation, attend meetings. Like, so, I mean, there are a couple of things that we will trust. Managing calendars, we can trust AI to do. But there are a couple, like medical decisions, financial decisions, we probably won't trust the AI to do at this time, right? If you were to take a very simple agent, in this case, I mean, I mean, have received some email marketing from either an e-commerce platform like Amazon or Netflix recommendation or Spotify. They have an agent working that keeps looking at when a user logged in, what the user data is, essentially looking at their movie watch list, recommending any new movies that we have added to our lineup, then use a language model to provide the recommendation, provide a text around the recommendation, and sending an email to the user. These systems exist right now. They're available, they're being used to improve the customer outreach, customer engagement for the organizations. Another example, if you haven't seen, I mean, this is Anthropic computer use, where the agent essentially is given a task to find something. Agent will interact with all different tools available on the computer to find information and take actions. This is about a 1-minute video I'm going to play for you.
I'll ask Claude to find a good place to see the sunrise, to help me figure out timing logistics, and help drop a calendar invite so I remember when I have to leave. It's opening Chrome, going to Google, searching, and it looks like it's found something. Great. So how far away is the location from my place? It's opening maps, searching for the distance between my area and the hiking location. Cool. So now it looks like Claude is searching for the sunrise time tomorrow. And is now dropping it into my calendar. And populating it with some details. And great, it looks like Claude did it.
Right, and so the point here was the whole thing, like the apps, the calendar, the maps, everything, the browser was controlled by AI. Human just provided the prompt in the beginning that I want to see the sunrise in San Francisco with a friend, right? Everything was done automatically, right? So while this was playing, I read a few questions. So yes, this is an extension of the Chat GPTs and the Anthropic and Gemini out there. Google provides the Vertex AI, which essentially builds on Gemini. So these all need an LLM to make decisions, to find information, so the way this works is essentially the Claude is seeing your screen, like the entire screen, and it's processing that image. It's seeing that you have a browser. It opens the browser, clicks on the specific location where the browser is, where the search bar is. It types in the text there. It finds the result. It essentially, again, finds the text in the results page, then captures the text and makes the next decision. So agent is essentially using all different tools, is finding a sequence of planning what tool I need to use when after dividing the task, and is then able to make the decision, create a calendar invite for the task given to it, right? Same thing is done with, say, for example, deep research. You define a topic that you want to write a report on. It plans what different sections I need for this report, right? Then it essentially, for every section, it tries to run a query on the existing data set that's available. Does a web search, does a search, I mean, like the Gemini or ChatGPT web search, finds all the relevant articles, relevant information, processes, synthesizes that data, creates a shorter section that fits the actual section that it planned. And it keeps iterating through it by critically analyzing the content to see, does this content make sense? Does it flow to able to produce a finished report very quickly, right? And this is a tool available for free online as an open source. And this is with LangGraph, open source AI system. This is another, the AI agent that my students in my MBA class developed. They essentially built an email data scientist. So where essentially an AI agent is monitoring a mailbox for looking at the user's queries or potential data sources. People can attach CSV, people can say, look at this data from this table in this SQL database, right? It does, I mean, once it gets the email, it again breaks down the task into, this is the query I need to do, this is the kind of visualizations I need, this is the kind of data I need. It does the EDA, selects a model to run on the data, what machine learning model would be relevant, determine the model data fit, estimate the results, articulate the results, creates a report after rethinking through the report with the help of the LLMs, like in this case, ChatGPT, and then sends a result via email back to the user, right? Removing the need for a data scientist in the organization. I'm going to skip this video, but this is essentially doing the same thing as we saw before, but in this case, finding information on a specific vendor in our CRM, customer on a CRM database, and then adding, when not found information, it actually adds it into the database. This is a game created by agent.
This Breaker game was entirely built by AI agents. All of the ideas were brainstormed by a game design agent, all of the code was written by a coding agent, and even the project management was done by an agent. Let's take a look at how this agent was implemented in Rivet. On the left, you can see all of the graphs that compose this game creator agent. We'll go over them all, but let's start with the main graph at the top, which is the one that's currently selected. The agent is actually composed of a number of sub-agents, and agents are allowed to execute other agents. The main graph is considered the project manager agent. Its main role is to determine what to do next and then delegate everything to other agents. On the left side of the graph, we determine the current agent's task. This is a graph input which defaults using an if-else node to a system message that the project manager agent is given at the start. Each agent is started with two system messages, the overall system prompt, one of the graphs, and the agent's task to accomplish. The first message is fed into a loop controller as the first message in a series of messages being sent to the LLM. The list of messages goes into a trim chat messages node in order to clip off messages from the beginning until we get under the LLM's context window. This allows the agents to run for any length of time, where they will simply forget older information that they don't have room for. AI to take actions, reflect on those actions, and then take more actions is a powerful one. This project was not without its faults. The agents would constantly make mistakes, retread ground they had already covered, completely fail at fixing compiler errors, and sometimes just make things worse. A few times my patience ran out and I went in and fixed the code for them. Other times, I nudged them in the right direction with some verbal guidance. That's why I like to call this a human-assisted AI project, in contrast to the current AI-assisted tools out there like Copilot and ChatGPT.
Right. And not just software, we are seeing these agents being used, being built in hardware itself. So Rabbit R1 is essentially a hardware the red object that you're seeing on the screen, it is essentially an agentic system where it does not have the keyboard or any other interface. You essentially ask it to take a picture. It will and explain the surrounding, the environment. It'll explain it to you. You verbally tell it to place order, book your flight. It can do all of those things. It essentially interacts with tools, understand your queries, and take action. We are seeing this even for developing software. So ChatDev, another open source system, is a virtual software company that operates through various intelligent agents holding different roles. So it's kind of like hiring a software company to build the software for you. And this is what we called an agentic workflow, where essentially you're not having just one agent, you have a bunch of different agents. The CEO who's essentially deciding what they can do as a company and essentially telling that I need this project to be completed in this budget, this time, etc. You have a CTO, which is understanding the technical specifications, the programmer, which is actually building the different modules of your software, the tester, which is essentially testing, does your software work that the AI produced or not? And then finally, they're creating a documentation in your code as well and giving you the finished product. The entire software development cycle is now being replaced with AI agents. Right? So, and this is AI agentic workflow. When you connect agents into a sequence as a team, you get an agentic workflow. This workflow includes multiple AI agents and possibly humans as well in the loop, and traditional software bots to interact and accomplish a bigger goal than we were giving to a standalone agent. I mean, think about the HR recruitment. You can build an agentic workflow. You have an agent that will analyze resumes. You'll have an agent that will screen candidates over a chatbot, right? You can connect to or send a message to the candidate and say, look, I want to have a screening interview, and the AI is taking that interview. You interview, then schedule an interview with the actual human being. The AI is tracking all of the interactions, and it provides an assessment and feedback to the agent, like to the human, and as well as feedback to the candidate. If the candidate is going to be made an offer, AI can negotiate the salaries, the benefits for the human with the human itself. And then the offer letter and deny letters could be sent with the personalized feedback for each of the candidate as well. Now visualize and develop a workflow in your business. I mean, order fulfillment, month-end financial reporting that you can handle by a sequence of AI agents. So think about any task that you do that you may not enjoy as much, right? But it could be broken down into smaller pieces. And I'm going to take a 20-second break here, so in case you are, to give you time to think. I mean, a lot of interesting questions in the chat, like while you're thinking, and unfortunately, I mean, I'll try to answer or cover some of those later during the slide with the governance. The stakeholder evaluation, decision-making, financial key ratio development, research projects, forecasting.
Rajiv, we can't see either.
Yes. I know, Nicole. At this time, maybe I'll share. I was thinking I have 5 minutes of my time left. So, statistical analysis, shareholder evaluation. Can you see now?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. back to the slides. So the point, the reason I want you to think, unfortunately, I gave you very little time to think, is to essentially think that there is an agency gap, right? So the way we are using current systems, like the LLMs or the chatbots, they're more static, they're reactive, they are good for simple tasks, simple environments, and they're relatively supervised in most scenarios. When we're talking about these agents, agentic workflows, they're adaptive. They essentially learn from the previous action, the previous outcome. They're proactive in planning, like what I need to do to answer this query. How do I break down a given task into smaller subtasks? They can handle complex goals, complex environments, and they're autonomous. You tell them what you need to do. For example, that's San Francisco. It figured out that I need to search the best spots for seeing the sunrise. It figured out I need to find the best time to see the sunrise. It figured out what is the best time in my calendar that I'm available to go see the sunrise, right? So it essentially created those plans and was autonomous for most part, like in creating the calendar invite, finding information, putting everything together, right? But we need to reduce this gap over time if we want to use the agents effectively. And this gap will reduce as we learn how to build, govern, and trust these systems, right? If we build it, we can experiment with them, we can do more. Governance comes in as one of the crucial steps. And like a lot of the chat questions, like we being hacked or computer being taken over, like by the AI, and all kinds of concerns are valid, right? So we need to understand how to govern these agents. Eventually, we will be able to trust them. When we talk about build, we need to experiment. Failing to make AI achieve its goal is still a success. We cannot fear the failures with using AI. By failing, you're identifying the boundaries of these AI systems itself. Knowing those boundaries is crucial in today's world. By trying new technologies, you become expert at the next one that comes to the market. The market is evolving very quickly. Interfaces are improving every single day, right? If you start now, the next technology that comes out next month, you already know most of the things that are embedded in that technology. We need to stay curious and keep reskilling. You need solid foundation, essentially foundation in the business process, being able to break down a business process in the smaller tasks and how each task could be replicated, could be duplicated, could be substituted with an AI. We need to be mindful of governance, be mindful of hallucinations and lack of accuracy and consistency in AI. AI is dumb. It is essentially dependent on the underlying data and algorithms. I truly believe like we are much smarter than any AI system that is out there, right? So we have to keep that in mind every single time that we are interacting with AI. AI is producing fascinating results. We can do better, right? So just keep that in mind. And so as a result, with sort of that mindset, you're going to question every single thing that AI produces. And this is how you improve the accuracy, right? You know that AI is not producing a biased results, right? Because by default, my research has shown AI produces biased results. We need to keep the sensitive data away from public model. There's another paper that I have, which essentially showed there is data leakage in the cloud LLMs. So you want to keep the data away until you are sure that your data is protected in some enterprise system that you're using for your agents or AI. Understand ethical and legal compliance. Like for the HR recruitment thing, can we actually use it? Could we potentially run into challenges in using these AI agents for recruitment process, right? And to build trust, we need to keep testing, right? Be a kid who usually likes that unbreakable toy, right? We buy all fascinating toys. Kids end up breaking most of the toys, but that one toy, the teddy bear or that utensil that doesn't break, that's their favorite toy. You want to keep trying, keep testing the AI systems. Eventually, you're going to find something that you can trust. But until then, you need to keep thinking it's dumb and I can do better, but question everything AI is producing. A word of caution, like, so most of the organizations, I mean, the idea of the hype that we talked about, the 75% of AI projects fail to deliver value because they're not aligned with the concrete business needs. 30% of generative AI projects will be abandoned after proof of concept by the end of 2025 because we are not governing them correctly, right? So we need to essentially think about the misaligned objectives. Like, are we doing this project because of the hype, or our business problem is actually could be solved with the AI? Right? Data is the fuel for AI. Most projects stall because the data is siloed or poor quality. Remember, garbage in, garbage out. So we need to make sure that the data that is going in to the AI systems is of high quality, is trusted. Integration and workflow changes. An AI agent might work well in isolation, but integrating into existing workflow could be complex and costly. We have to keep that in mind. Cost and scale. Some AI projects show promise, but scaling is expensive. Suppose you decide that I want to use the Llama, distal Llama for my project, but I can host the model on my own. It works for my team. But if I want to use that Llama deployment for my entire enterprise, it's going to become very costly. Human factor. Sometimes, even if the AI works, employer customers might not fully embrace it. How do you manage change, right? And measuring ROI itself is tricky. Not everything is quantifiable at every time. There could be some qualitative or indirect benefits of using AI as well. The other caution is don't ignore it. My last slide essentially is giving the sense that there is too much risk that is associated, too much complexity associated. But if we ignore it, this article by the MIT said the last 40 years have been increasingly difficult for the 65% of US workers who do not have 4-year college degree. People who did not get on board with the modern technologies. It increased the wider inequality and shrunk the opportunities for that workforce. This erosion is inevitable. Like, the same thing applies for AI as well. AI is going to take over most of the boring tasks, most of the repetitive tasks in the next 3 years, right? So we have to get on the AI train, AI agent train right now. So a strategic roadmap for leaders: identify high impact areas within your organization, start with a pilot project, think big, but start small. Assemble cross-functional team. Like, you don't need just the IT or just the business leader. You need both. You need people from different expertise, different areas to brainstorm to build the agents. Assess your data and prepare the data for use to provide those contextual AI systems. Define success metrics. It could be the quantitative metrics or qualitative. Keep humans in the loop and set boundaries. We need boundaries to essentially make sure these agents are not making mistakes, right? We need to have a human auditing or human in the loop that oversees that decision making when it's actually closer to the boundaries. Measure and communicate results frequently with the team. It helps in change management. Invest in change management, train workforce on AI agents, assemble governance team as well, and scale to the new use cases. And keep iterating through these steps to improve the outcome. So key takeaways: AI agents are here to stay. 2025 will be the tipping point. Agentic workflow is the future. Connecting AI agents into intelligent workflow amplifies productivity, efficiency, and innovation. Balance hype with reality. Not every AI solution will deliver immediate ROI. Start with clear goals, small pilots, and realistic expectations. Keep humans in the loop. AI enhances human roles, but it doesn't replace them. Governance and ethics is essential. Prioritize transparency, oversight, and accountability in your projects, and embrace change through continuous learning. So organizations that proactively prepare their workforce for AI will lead the future. So thank you.
Oops. Thank you, Rajiv. You got
Sorry,
through all this
I went 5 minutes over, Nicole. I'm sorry.
Oh, well, we'll excuse you this time, because that was fascinating. We do have lots of questions, though. I did promise Lisa that I would ask her, she put it in the chat, around when you say contextually aware, can you expound on that? Are you saying these agents are able to decipher tone and colloquialisms, etc.?
So, I mean, that identifying the tone is part of the agent as well, but that's not contextually aware. The contextually aware is, suppose I'm providing support for, so I'm for example, McDonald's, and McDonald's is providing customer support. It has to be contextual to say the products I sell, the areas where I serve in, right? So that information provides the responses that are very contextualized to the business. So when I talked about the RAG-based model, retrieval augmented generation, it essentially takes in my business data, my business information, my team information, and then creates answers that are bounded within the domain, within the context of my business process, my project, right? So contextually aware is essentially relying or bounding the data within my needs, within my domain.
Understood. Thank you. Bob asks, what's your perspective on yesterday's OpenAI 3.0 release, which for the first time enables their reasoning models to agentically leverage and integrate every tool inside ChatGPT?
I think so. I was expecting the 3.0 to come out in March. It was a little delayed. But so ChatGPT is an awesome platform, like an awesome tool. There, the ChatGPT OpenAI Orchestrate works. I mean, you need some coding skills for that, right? So it is beautiful. I use it, but you need a little bit coding. Anthropic Claude uses more browser-based, which is relatively less code. Zapier is another, which is more UI-based agent tool. So there are multiple solutions out there depending on your comfort level, your organization. Microsoft Copilot has one as well. You can actually, most of us has, say, enterprise Office account. If we log into our Office tools, we should have a Copilot automate system, where we can create a workflow of like, read my emails, if email comes from this person, read the text, respond it by creating a response using Copilot. It can do all of those things already for us, right? So there are some low-hanging fruits that are already available to us at enterprise. Google Vertex AI is amazing. ChatGPT definitely Orchestrate is amazing. Claude is awesome. So there are a lot of tools that are out there. They're all awesome. And any tool that you find comfortable with, use it, like play with it. It's fun.
Great, thank you. Shiva asks, from a UI UX perspective, how do you see traditional web interfaces evolving as AI agents evolve?
So that's an amazing question. Interestingly, the interfaces are going to become more simplified, right? So for example, the Rabbit R1 that I showed, it's a tool that essentially interacts with just the voice. The interface all needs a very simple text-based input and essentially or a voice-based input. So our interfaces are going to become richer in disseminating information, but not as much around understanding their psychology on where exactly I'm going to click, where I'm going to spend time. Those things are going to go away. So interface evolution needs essentially more one-to-one interactions, as if you're interacting with a human, with a live person, versus a collection of features on the device.
Thank you. Brian asks an interesting question. At some level, people's cognitive strength may be lessened. What guardrails would you recommend to avoid brain rot? I think they said that about television, didn't they?
So I mean, it's a yeah. I mean, the
We can
television.
go
I
on to
mean,
the
it's
next question.
no, it's a good question, and it sort of reminds me when Google was becoming popular early 2000. There was an article that said Google is making us dumb because we're not going to library, we're not opening books as much to find information. We quickly go online and find the information, right? So I mean, 20 years later, we are here. We're, I think, smarter. We're creating a lot more innovation. I think we are more productive than we were 20, 25 years ago, right? Were we smarter then or now? That's a good question. And unfortunately, I want to say we are smarter now than there. But we're also information overloaded. We are more stressed now than we were before, right?
Right.
Because we have so much knowledge or so much information at the tip of our fingers, we can decide very quickly because we see all these options. My hope is with AI, yes, we're going to have multiple source of information, but it's consolidated into one place. It's actually cognitively is going to be better for us moving forward. That's my take, right? So, uh, I mean, if you can, like, think about Google search, right? If you are searching for something on Google, you go to click on the first link, you don't find it, go to the second link, third link, fourth link. It's cognitively demanding, right? But now I go to Google Gemini or ChatGPT and I provide the same search. I get a very concise answer in one paragraph. I don't need to spend time. I have relatively a smaller information to process, to consume, to make decision on. Hopefully, I'll be less stressed.
Hopefully our cognitive load will be reduced. Adrian asks, what happens when the agent is wrong? And I think this goes to your point around governance. You know, what if a human agent programs corrupt or wrong information into the AI agent? What and who is going to govern all of this?
Yes, so that is a great question. Look, I mean, humans make mistakes too, right? AI is going to make mistakes. The good thing is you can actually have the AI train on learning from mistakes. Like you can test it as much as you want. You can have an AI agent train on your thousands or millions of calls history data to perform correctly every single time, right? It will learn very quickly. It will get that training on every single historic call and will be ready to take answers moving forward. Human agents training will take longer. They're going to learn on the job over time, right? Now, one thing, so there's another paper of mine where we talk about human behavior is going to change, and as a result, AI needs to evolve. So your point is valid that, so the first step, if we test and train these AI agents, they will do better at the baseline level compared to humans. But as humans keep evolving, keep learning, working with the AI, their behavior changes in interacting with AI, then humans, the other humans who are interacting will become better than these AI that are massively trained, right? So these need to relearn to catch up with humans every single time. So this is where we need the governance that keeps auditing whether it's reaching those boundary conditions. And as a result, I need to provide more training data because my customer behaviors, the human behaviors, are evolving as well.
Well, this has all been absolutely fascinating, Rajiv. And every time I meet you in the hallways or the corridor, you've always got something fabulous to tell me about your research and how you're implementing it. So thank you so much. I'm going to hand over to Tammy, who's going to close us out.
Thank you, Nicola. And thank you, Rajiv. Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Tammy Long, and I am a member of the Executive Education team. As a wrap up for today's session, we want to thank Rajiv for sharing this great overview on AI agents. As Lori Keaton mentioned in the comments, very eye-opening indeed. And thank you to all of our attendees for joining of us today, providing all of the insightful questions as well as comments. Looking ahead for Business Over Breakfast on May the 1st, please join us for Tom Smith as he talks about recession or resilience, decoding the U.S. economy's mixed signals. And then on May 17th, the difficulty in targeting multiple segments with Ryan Hamilton. As always, we like to share our featured short courses with you, leveraging AI for business. So if you enjoyed hearing from Rajiv this morning, please join him as well as Jesse Bogstad on April the 30th and May 1st for an in-person session to really understand more about AI for business. We also have a Disrupting Your Business Strategy course on May 13th and 14th. And we also offer a new suite, excuse me, of asynchronous online courses surrounding AI and data analytics. So again, thank you all for taking time out of your busy day to be with us. We really appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day, and we look forward to seeing you on our upcoming Business Over Breakfast sessions.
Thank you all.
Thank you.